Hey, awesome! Hi everyone! 3 o'clock. Welcome to Randy's World. I'm excited for this. Look how cozy this is. I'm in my own little hut here. Is the sound good? We're picking up sound? I think it is, right? So thanks. Sally got me all set up here, right? I love it. I think we're good, right? Okay, looking good. Let me check my mic here. Yep, looking good there. Let me put it down here so I don't lose it. Okay, well, I think we're good, right? Yep, you should be able to hear me fine. Awesome. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. So, every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, I do something called Randy's World. I'm out in the vineyard. Wherever I am, I stop, I set up a camera, and go live. So, I'm in a dirty shirt. I've been putting in steaks all morning. We put in another like 50 steaks for parking. And I was all hot and sweaty earlier. One of the best moments ever happened to me today. I'm out in the field here putting in steaks, and it was hot. I'm out there soaking wet. And all of a sudden, I see Tiff, pushing the stroller, and Maggie's running in front of her. And all of a sudden, Maggie's running across the field. I'm running across the field. It's one of those moments I'm thinking, if you can capture this on camera, I love those puppies. Do you know that yesterday was Tiff's and my 10-year wedding anniversary? 10 years. I'm going to talk about how you can love someone more 10 years later than you did the day you married them. I love that lady so much. Oh my God. Mama, if you're watching, I know you're watching. I love you, love. Happy anniversary. You are the best. I can tell you, love, I owe every single thing that's great in my life to you. Man, our babies, I don't mean to get crying, guys, but man, I love you, Tiff, so much. Our babies, I love Maggie and Joseph, Natalie. I'm so proud to be their dad. I'm proud to be your husband. I'm proud of the business we've created together. I'm proud I can sit under our vines. I'm just grateful for the life I live. So, we're going to answer the question, how can you want someone you already have? It's the question I pose in the Couples Underground Experience. Every Valentine's we do that, Couples Edition. And I pose the question to the room, how can you want someone you already have? Because when we're dating people, it's nostalgic. We're in love, and we have this picture in our head of what life is going to be like when we're married. And then we get married, and statistics show that more than 50% of the time, that image you have in your head never comes true. So why not? Why does that happen? Why are divorce rates so high? I hate divorce. I hate it. So we're going to talk about how can you want someone you already have? How can you want them more and more and more all the time? And I talk a lot about marriage and relationships here at the winery because, people come here to enjoy their life. And do you know that 85% of your happiness is derived through relationships? 85%. So if you want to be a happier, healthier, more productive, more energetic, more enthusiastic person, work on relationships. Become better at it. Develop strong bonds with the people you love. And we talk about efficiency. You cannot have an efficient relationship. It's not possible. And you all know me. I'm all about efficiency. I mean, with the winery, there's about 100 people that work here. There's a lot of moving parts to the company. I need things to be efficient, fast, quick, do it right the first time, every time. All those sayings are true. When it comes to relationships, throw that out the window because you will never get a great relationship by trying to be efficient at it. You got to put the time in. You got to spend the time to get it. If you don't, you won't. It's just that simple. Relationships, it's kind of like a glue that sets up very slowly, and you have time to work it. Take the time to set those relationships. Time is your most valuable thing you will ever have. Spend it with those you love. Okay, so here's my talking points. We're going to talk about communication. We're going to talk about the analogy of the apology. Kind of important. We're going to talk about bids and communication, because that's huge in relationships. We're going to talk about trust. Without trust, you ain't got no relationship. We're going to talk about stored memory. About 2 or 3 weeks back, I don't know what prompted me, but all of a sudden, before we went live up there at the house, I got talking about stored memory, of how we store memory in other people's minds, that I don't have to know it because Tiff knows it. And I'm going to talk about that in relationships and how important it is. And we're going to end it by talking about the word contempt. I don't think we have a hate problem in the world. I think we have a contempt problem. Contempt means that I'm better than you, and I know more than you, and I'm going to talk down to you. That's contempt. Contempt is deadly. It's deadly in a relationship between husband and wife. It's deadly amongst parents and children. It's deadly in any relationship. Contempt, in my opinion, is the biggest problem of today's world. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Okay, you ready? Here we go. We're going to jump in. Okay, so before we jump in, I got a couple more things I want to say. Some statements that I want to make about this talk. Number one, pain is more potent than pleasure, and anxiety is more than hope. Let's think about that for a second. Pain is more potent than pleasure, and anxiety is more than hope. If we can understand that in our life, we can use that to our advantage. Because people are more afraid to lose what they currently have than to gain for the future. That's a true statement. Okay, we're gonna talk about telling the truth. I know I'm going out of order here. But when it comes to having a relationship, like Tiff and I, in our relationship, I can tell you, Tiff and I tell the truth. We tell the truth to each other all the time. What that means is that there's some nasty, uncomfortable moments. There's some moments that you wish you didn't have, because the truth is not comfortable, but the truth is the truth. Tell the truth. Randy Pausch says it this way in his book called The Last Lectures. He says, if I could give my children 3 words of advice, it would be tell the truth. If I could give them 3 more, it would be all the time. Telling the truth means that you care about the person. Tell the truth with a kind heart. When you have something to say, silence is a lie. Think about that. How many times in a relationship do you have something that you should say, but we hold back because the truth is a little uncomfortable, and we hold back. And by holding back, you just built a wall between you and your significant other because you had something to say and you didn't. So by having something to say and not saying it, it's a lie. When you have something to say, silence is a lie. Speak the truth with a kind heart. Because the fact is this, whether you want to be right or whether you want to have peace, you can't have both. You don't get peace by being right. You just get to be right. Well, your partner gets to be wrong. And I promise you, if you do that 10,000 times in a row, the marriage is over. Or you'll wish it was over. How the truth is that? Telling the truth means that you care about the person more than the way you feel in any given moment. If we can speak the truth through a kind heart and say the way you feel, it means, look, I care about you, and I'm willing to have those uncomfortable conversations right here, right now. That way, these things don't build up, and in 10 years, it just explodes. How many times have we seen that? In so many relationships, they try to be courteous. They try to be polite by not saying what's on their mind. And if you do that too many times in a row, all of a sudden you find yourself in a world where you don't even know the person that you're living with. Speak the truth. By speaking the truth, I promise you, you will age slower. You're going to get less wrinkles. I'm going to do an analogy where someone that looks very old, like I've met people and they're, 45 years old. I'm 45 years old. I think I'm 44. I was born in 76. And I meet them and they just look worn out. And I almost want to say to them, you look rough. You look beat up. And I could always trace it back to uncomfortable relationships, times where they just had to endure something. Speak the truth. Say the way you feel. A lot of times they're going to go, I never knew you felt like that. Speak the truth all the time. Okay. Couples underground experience. You ready? Here we go. Never criticize anyone for something that they can't change. How true is this? Never find yourself criticizing someone that they cannot change. And guess what falls in that category? Everybody's past. Never criticize someone's past. Ever, never, ever. They can't do a thing about it. So don't criticize them for it. This falls into your children too. Never criticize your children for something that they can't change. Don't do it. It's going to hurt your relationship. How to communicate crystal clear. This is a rule that Tiff and I have. Okay, how to communicate crystal clear. Only speak after you can summarize the other person's position and they agree with you that you understand their position. I think most arguments and challenges in relationships derives from misunderstandings. Nobody's listening. Nobody's paying attention, because a lot of times when people are talking, no one's really listening. Everyone's thinking about what they're going to say next. So you're not even hearing what they're saying. You're thinking of your next thoughts of what am I going to say next to combat this. That's not the way to communicate. Most people never learn how to listen. Listening means that I'm taking you in and I can summarize back to you exactly how you feel and have you say to me, yes, you understand exactly what I'm saying. Then I can speak back to Tiff. Until that, I do not say a word because I don't understand what she's saying. And we're just going round and round and getting nowhere, right? Okay, here we go. By the way, Tiff has approved everything I'm saying here. Right, love? Tiff has approved it all. And I want to give a lot of credit to Dr. John Gottman. If you want to have one of the best relationships people on the planet, Dr. Gottman is your man. He has something called the Seattle Love Lab. He's a professor at the Seattle University, and he studies relationships. A lot of this stuff comes from Dr. Gottman. And he's the one that gave me that question, how can you want someone you already have? It's one of the most disturbing questions that I've ever come across. And I thought about it for weeks at a time, and it's kind of how we came up with the Couples Underground experience. So the analogy of the apology. I think we all know, and now apologies are the most important thing that's needed in any relationships. Apologies are needed almost daily for small things. It might be something that you weren't aware that the other person was hoping you might do for them, and you missed it. Something like holding the door open for them. Small things, right? And I would say there are no small things. Everything counts. In every relationship, everything counts. That's just the way it works. So apologies. We apologize to people for two reasons. Number one, it's the right thing to do. And number two, it's going to bring you peace of mind. When I apologize to someone, all I can control is myself. I can't control them at all. I can control me. So I do it to bring myself peace of mind. Because if I owe someone an apology, I don't want it to stick with me. I don't want them to own my mind. Because I promise you, if you're living a life where something jumps in your mind on a daily basis or weekly basis, keeps coming back, you need to go to that person and you need to apologize to them. You need to say, what I did was wrong. How can I make it better? That's it. It's just that simple. But you know why people don't apologize? They don't apologize for a couple reasons. Number one, they have too much pride. They think, I'm right, they're wrong, too bad for them. Well, no, it's too bad for you. Because when you don't apologize to someone that is in your head a lot, they own you. Think about this. If you owe someone an apology and it's something that's bothering you, that it just reoccurs, you're thinking about them on a daily, weekly basis, and it just keeps reoccurring, that person owns your mind. Kick them out. Go to them and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. What can I do to make it better? So now what you've done is you've put it in their court. They now have a choice. They can say to you, you know what? It's all good. I accept your apology. We're friends again. Thank you for apologizing. It means a lot to me, and we're better. Or they could go, the heck with you. I don't accept your apology. They could turn around and walk away. Guess what? That's not your fault because you are responsible for you. They're responsible for them. If they choose to do that to you, feel bad for them because you own their mind. If you could only get them to see that, they would go, wow, I don't want them to own me. They would come back to you and say, how? Wow. I'm sorry that I didn't accept your apology. What can I do to make it better? And just like that, the relationship gets healed. You know, an apology, I heard this from Randy Pausch from the last lecture. He goes, an apology is like an antibiotic when a relationship has an infection. How true is that? And it's the only antibiotic. It's the only thing that's going to heal it up. The apologies. Apologize all the time. Apologies don't mean that you're wrong. It means that you value the relationship more than your ego. And there are so many egos in the way. So many. You know, I talked about contempt. I think we have a contempt problem. Contempt, the root of contempt is ego. Ego means I'm great and I'm better than you. No, we are all the same. In the end, we are all searching for similar forms of human happiness, period. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're from. You are searching for similar forms of human happiness. And you know what? I believe that we are all doing the best we can. I think you're doing the best you can. I'm doing the best I can. Tiff's doing the best she can. And that's that. Because if I don't assume that you are doing the best you can, I'm in contempt of you. I must think I'm better than you and I can judge you. No. You are doing the best you can with the tools that are given to you, period. And we can get better through constant learning, reading books, talking to people, surrounding ourselves with people that are better than us. I'm constantly searching for people that think better, quicker, faster, have accomplished more, have better relationships. How can I be around those people? Because guess what? We're going to become like the people we hang around. It's just the way it works. I get fired up about this stuff, guys. Okay, so apologies, right? So we already talked about what if you apologize and the person doesn't respond in a positive way? Well, too bad for them, because you do you, they will do them. Because you know what? What are the odds of two people coming to the exact same emotional spot at the exact same moment in time? It's almost zero. So if I apologize to someone, let's say I think, okay, I hurt this person. Let's say I hurt them and I don't even think that I should apologize because what they're accusing me of isn't even true. Let's set that up. It's not even true what they're accusing me of. I still owe them an apology. I still need to go to them and say, I'm sorry. I'm at least sorry that I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry that you feel like that towards me, right? Even if I feel that I didn't do anything wrong, they do. And you know what? Feelings are not right and wrong. The way you feel is the way you feel. No one should say to you, you don't feel the right way. Too bad. This is the way I feel. Feelings are not right or wrong. It's just the way it is. So if someone feels hurt by you, go to them and say, I'm sorry. What can I do to make it better? At that moment, if they're in the emotional spot, the right spot that you're at, they're going to accept it. If they're not, just give them time. That's all they need. Because as time passes, it changes everything. Nothing stays the same. Time changes everything. And you know, that reminds me, the answers change in life. You know, I'm going off on a tangent here, guys, but school teaches us, when we go to school, from kindergarten through 12th grade, all through college, master's degree, doctorate degree, it teaches you, study the book, and if you can write down on this piece of paper what the book says, you get the grade, you pass the grade, you get an A. That's not the way life works. The answers change. The questions remain the same all the time. The questions will always change. So give your spouse the flexibility to change their mind, because the answers change. Because I promise you, what's right for you today will not be right for you in 10 years from now. It's just not, because the answers change. The questions remain the same. Give them flexibility. If we make our decisions in life, including apologizing, simply based upon our own long-term peace of mind, you are making the right decisions, period. Your peace of mind matters more than anything in the world. Do what it takes to have peace of mind. And that means doing the right thing by everybody all the time. It includes apologizing, even when you don't think you've done something wrong. And if they don't accept it, it's on them. It's not on you. Forgive them. Never be in contempt. Okay, we're going to jump to communication and bids. You ever hear about bids? When I'm saying, I'm like making a bid. I'm bidding for something. Like you go to an auction, you throw your paddle in the air, like you're going to bid for something. In relationships, people are throwing their paddles in the air all the time. They're making bids to you constantly. So a bid works like this. Okay, it goes like this. Tiff might say to me, look at the rainbow, isn't it pretty? She did this to me yesterday. We're driving up Route 22. And if you're on 22 yesterday, the rainbow was unbelievable. She goes, look at the rainbow, isn't that pretty? And it was gorgeous. It was unbelievable. My response was, wow, look at the purple. You can see the pink and the green, the blue, the red. I met her bid, right? She made a bid to me. This rainbow is important to me. Would you acknowledge it for me? That was a bid for attention. I met the bid. Now imagine if I went like this. Imagine if she said, look at the rainbow. And I said, I've seen hundreds of rainbows. Duh. I didn't meet the bid, right? And she's going to get hurt a little bit. And that stuff happens at times in relationships. And you know, nobody's ever going to rebid. Tiff would never say, I said, look at the rainbow. Isn't it pretty? No one's going to do that. She's just going to get hurt. And then I bet you next time, she won't make that bid. And guess what? One brick in the wall just got built up between us. That's the key to every great relationships. The bricks in the wall never get built. And relationships get blocked one brick at a time. No relationship gets destroyed in 1 second. No relationship gets wonderful in 1 second. They fade in a direction. You're fading towards greatness, or you're fading towards divorce. And it has to do with one brick at a time. And the bids is where it's at. Pay attention to bids. Watch out for the bids. Meet them. If you don't, you're in trouble. You know, our brain has two sides. People are the most complicated things on the planet. That's a true statement. Most complicated things. So a relationship is having one of the most complicated things on the planet working with another one of the most complicated things on the planet. There's going to be challenges, I promise you. And if there isn't, someone's not real. Someone's faking it. And if you have someone faking it, it's going to explode. It's going to blow up. You got to be real. You got to tell the truth all the time. So people are the most complicated things on the planet. We have this thing called a neocortex in our head. And the neocortex automates things. Believe me, this is about relationships. Automation is very deadly in relationships. It happens like this. You meet someone brand new. You know nothing about them. When you know nothing about someone, you're paying attention to every moment. You're watching them. You're learning them. You're seeing what they like, don't like. You know, what do they order for dinner? How do they like their meals cooked? Do they like it warm, cold? You know what I mean? All this stuff. You're paying attention. As time goes on, you kind of get to know them, right? And you think you can predict what they like. Well, at that moment, you've automated them. You're going, I don't need to pay attention to every single moment because I can predict you. I feel like I know you, so you automate them. And we automate everything. This is the way our world works. I promise you. You've all automated driving to work already. You've automated things at work. We automate everything. Because if you didn't automate stuff, the world would be very complicated. So that's why you can be thinking about one thing while driving to work, because you can get there without thinking about it. You don't have to be paying attention. That is so dangerous in relationships. And if you've ever been in a conversation, this has happened to me, where I'm up at the house and I'm sitting there and I'm working or doing whatever. Tiff comes in the room and she's talking to me and I'm going, yep, yep. And then silence takes over the room. What's the next question? You all know the next question. Were you listening to me? And what's my answer? Everyone knows the answer. Yes, I was listening. What's the next question? What did I just say? And then I take some stabs at it and I go, well, this is the gist of it. You're talking about this, talking about that. And Tiff would go, okay, close enough. But the next time I talk to you, you make sure that you're listening to me. Don't automate me. Don't ever automate. Because you know what the danger of automation is? If you automate your spouse and you automate your children, you automate the people around you, and you're not in the present moment, you are going to find yourself treating strangers better than your significant others. Because the stranger's not automated, and they are. And that's when you'll find yourself in a spot where you're courteous and polite to a stranger, and then you'll get in a car and shut the door and say something nasty and impolite to your loved ones. Never automate. Always treat the people you love like the people you love. Treat the stranger like a stranger. It's that simple. Okay. When it comes to bidding, two things. You got to be very clear at bidding. What I'm talking about bidding is saying what you want. In my life, I love giving things away. You all know. If you come to the winery, I love giving things away. You know that. My relationship with Tiff, I love to do things for her. I love to make her dreams come true. I love doing that. What I'm bad at is saying what I want, saying what I need. That's not fair. Because if I'm not clear to Tiff of what I want and what I need, then she has to guess. That's not fair. No one should have to guess. No one should have to like take a stab at it and try to guess what you want. You have to be very clear on stating what you want, making those bids for what you want very clear. That's when communication is open and honest and clean. Okay. Oh, by the way, you need to have a positive to negative ratio in your relationship. This is from Dr. Gottman, 5-to-1. For every one negative thing that happens in your relationship, whether it's an argument, a miscommunication, anything, if you don't have 5 positives overwhelming that one negative, you are in trouble. That's why every morning when I wake up, I say to Tiff 5 positive things to overwhelm the one negative thing that I'm going to do later in the day to make up for it. I'm kidding, but I'm kind of not kidding. You know, when we're clear on bidding, nobody needs to read minds. I hate that. I don't think it's fair communication in a relationship when someone says, I was hoping you would just know that's what I wanted. Sorry. But I think that we should be very clear. And there should never be a time where someone's expected to read someone's mind. Be very clear. Okay, we're going to talk about trust. Trust is huge. If there's a trust issue in your relationship, I would talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and never stop talking about it again. Ever. It should be talked about until you're so blue in the face that it's like, okay, all right already. Trust is the foundation of all relationships. If they don't trust you, they're never going to be able to have a relationship with you. Trust is the foundation. It's the foundation in an intimate relationship. It's the foundation with your children. It's the foundation if you're a leader of a business. If you're a manager, trust is it. If they don't trust you, they ain't going to follow you. Trust is the foundation. I say this, trust is the emotional glue that holds the world together. It's definitely the emotional glue in every relationship. And there's all kinds of trust, right, in a relationship. There's lots of different levels. And when it comes to trust, it's so important in relationships because trust only has meaning when there's something to lose. And if you're in a personal relationship with someone and you have a marriage and you have children and you have assets and you are dedicated to this person, you got a lot to lose. Trust matters. If you had nothing to lose, who cares? I don't need to trust someone that I have nothing to lose from them, right? Trust can never be given. They got to earn it. You can never give away trust. But yet trust is the biggest gift you could ever give to somebody else, period. And I want to say this about trust. The object does not matter. The object of the trust does not matter. What I mean by that is this. If you're in a marriage and your significant other sees that you lie to someone, your significant other knows that you're a liar and you're going to lie to them. Never lie to anyone. Tell the truth all the time. Because if you lie to one person, you're going to lie to everyone. And your significant other knows it. Whether they're going to admit it or not, they know you that you lie. Tell the truth all the time to everybody. I think the word's integrity, isn't it? Telling the truth when no one's looking. The most important statement we can make about trust is that trust will never exist unless it exists in you. I've never met someone that doesn't trust themselves that trusts other people. It's not possible. You're never going to be able to give away something you don't have. So you got to be able to trust yourself in order to trust someone else. And you should always remember to treat yourself like someone you love. I love that. Right? Can I give you a quote from Viktor Frankl? It's a great book. It's from Man's Search for Meaning. He has a quote in there about connection. And we're talking about relationships and trust and communication. He says, take the time to connect. There's a lot of people that have enough to live by, but there's nothing to live for. They got the means to the end, but there's just no meaning to the end. Take the time to connect with those around you. No relationship can ever be efficient. You got to spend the time. Distance does not separate people. It's the lack of connection that creates the distance. True statement there. So our last Oh, I want to talk about stored memory real quick before we talk about contempt. Stored memory. This is huge. It's huge in your relationship with your significant other because I promise you, there's a lot of information that you have stored in their mind. I can tell you, Tiff knows a lot of stuff that I don't need to know because she knows it. So I store that in her mind. We do this with everyone around us. If you're at work, you store information in other people's minds at work. I do. I store information in Matt's mind, Sally's mind, Teresa's mind, right? Tiff's got most of my information. She stores so much. You know what the danger of that is? If your relationship's in trouble and you separate from that person, you just lost all of that stored memory. This is one of the biggest disasters when it comes to relationship crumbling, is all the knowledge that you had in their head is gone. Sometimes people feel completely lost in the world and they don't know why. Why am I so lost? Why do I feel so like I don't know where I'm at anymore? Well, half your mind is gone. You lost it. Because if you were with someone for 10 years, you have 10 years of stored memory in their mind. And you depend on that and you count on it. You have so much to lose by not having a good relationship with the person you're married to. More than you ever could imagine. Your children depend on you. You depend on you. The world depends on you. You are a role model whether you believe it or not. Contempt. All right. I opened this by saying I don't think we have a hate problem in the world. I think we have a contempt problem. Everyone thinks they're better than someone else. That's what contempt is. Contempt means I'm up here and you're down here. If you ever think that you're better than someone else, you're in trouble. You're in huge trouble. That means you're arrogant. Man, the more you know you don't know. It's just the truth. You meet anyone that's accomplished great things in life. You know, I mean, I just saw Charlie Wilson here. If you know Charlie Wilson, that man is one of the most brilliant men I've ever met. The guy's got a PhD. Will you meet him? He's the most humble, kind, courteous, giving man you'd ever meet. And I saw him for less than 5 seconds today. And you know what he said to me? He has a way to give compliments that you never see it coming. He goes, Charlie's wife, Sue Wilson, goes, Randy, let's take a picture together. I go, oh, fun, great, sounds good. So I lean over, we take the picture, and Charlie goes, yeah, we're going to sell it. That was his way of complimenting me. I'm thinking, oh, Charlie, you humble me, man. I'm grateful for you, Charlie. I've learned more from you just by watching you than you ever could imagine. And I think this is the best keys in life. Look for great role models. And who can you learn from? They're out there. People like Charlie Wilson. People like Dick James. People like Tom Denneth. Bill Yoder. Zig Ziglar. John Maxwell. Man, they're out there. So contempt. Contempt, if you find contempt in your relationship with your husband or wife, get it out immediately. It's deadly. It's going to destroy you. If you have contempt, it's already over. Go back. Go back and fix it. Now. Run as fast as you can. Nobody gets contempt immediately. Because when you meet someone, you marry them for all the great aspects and great attributes of them, right? When someone gets married, they're never thinking about all the negative things about the person. You're marrying them for all the great attributes. Over time, our focus gets off of that and it gets on the negative ones. By the way, when you marry them, they had all the negative ones at that moment. You just didn't see it. But later, we start to focus on different things. So we see that, we don't see that. And but the way life works like this, you only see what you look at. And life is like this. It's tunnel vision. If you see the good in someone, that's all you're going to see. If you see the bad in them, that's all you're going to see. It's just the way it works. And if you focus on the bad, you're going to get the bad. Focus on the good, you're going to get the good. So if you find yourself in a spot where I'm like, I can't stand this person, well, why did you marry them? You married them for all the good attributes. That's what you fell in love with. If now you see the things you hate, it's because you stopped looking at that and now you're looking at the negative. Stop looking at the negative, start looking at the positive, start talking about it, and your world will go in a different direction. And contempt, it never happens overnight. It starts like this. It goes from complaining to criticism to contempt. And complaining is okay. Tiff and I complain all the time to each other. We do. Complaining, it's normal. It's natural. Sometimes we have to complain to get, just to vent a little bit. By the way, if you ever blame someone for something, that's just pain inside you being discharged. That's all it is. So be careful about blaming anyone, because if the other person really understands what blame is, they're going to look at you and go, you're going to be okay. That's just pain coming out of you. I get it. You're going to be okay. Okay, you ready? So, complaining is normal. Complaining is this. Tiff might say to me, man, the garbage never gets taken out. We should take the garbage out. That's okay. We're good, right? You know, so we'll do that. So the next one is going to be, I'm sorry, I'm losing my track of mind here. I'm looking at people. Is going to be criticism. Criticism is always about people. It becomes about the person, and it's much more broad. So it would be like this. You never take the garbage out, and now it's overflowing, and it's all your fault, and I feel like I can never rely on you. Now we're in the world of criticism. It's getting bad. Contempt, you're going to add insult to it, and you've placed yourself on a higher level. It goes like this. You idiot. Why can't you ever remember to take the garbage out? You're now in contempt, because by calling them a name, you must be up here and they're down here. Just don't ever do that. The opposite of contempt is admiration. I can tell you, Charlie and Sue Wilson have been married for like, I don't know, 300 years. I love you guys. Every time I'm around Charlie, he compliments Sue. It's all the time. He admires her, and you can see the richness of their relationship. Here's an experiment you can do. If you're ever in a disagreement, get face to face, eye to eye, within 6 inches of each other, and I promise you, all the fighting will stop. It's hard to fight someone when you're face to face, eye to eye, and you're looking them in the eye because you see them as a human being. That's hard. And no inanimate object should ever be more important than your significant other. If you're ever on the phone and they want to talk to you, put the phone down. If your children come up to talk to you and you're on Facebook, shut it down. No phone should ever be more important than the person. So this goes far beyond more than just like having a good relationship. Get this. The University of Michigan has shown that if you're in an unhappy marriage, you're going to get sick 35% more often. It's going to shorten your life by 4 years, and you're going to have less killer cells in your body. Killer cells are the kills that fight off free radicals. They're the ones that create cancer. You'll have less of them. And you know, in the exact same study, they studied children going through a divorce. Those kids going through a divorce had 3 times the level of stress hormones in their body. It pays to have great relationships. I want to encourage you today, like right here, right now, make the commitment that with the relationship between you and your husband, you and your wife, you and your significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, I don't care, is going to be the best relationship. And you're going to invest time in it. And you're going to realize that it takes time. You are never going to have an efficient relationship. It doesn't exist. You got to spend the time to get it. If you don't, you won't. I want to encourage you to do it. You're going to see benefits in every area of your life. And I'm telling you, men, if you have a business, the best way for your business to grow is to love your wife. I promise you, your business will skyrocket. Blue Ridge is what it is because how much I love my wife. It's going to make me cry. I love you, Tiff. I want to be better for you all the time. I love our children. I'm grateful for you. Thanks for being part of our life, guys. Man, you make me cry. I can't tell you all what you mean to us. You really do make life possible. I hope to become better and better all the time. I'm hoping in 10 years I'm sitting under these vines and I got words coming at you that add so much value to your life. That's my mission, is to add value. I work hard at it and I want to be better. I know I got more in me. Ooh, I love you all. Thanks for being part of our life. Thank you.